back, everybody. Today we've got 10 customers who got caught lying in the most ridiculous ways. A customer comes up to the service desk to return a DVD player. I ask an electronics associate to come over to inspect the item per policy to make sure it's returnable. Everything looks fine until we ask for the receipt. The customer shows us a receipt dated in July. It's currently November, so the item is outside of the 45-day return period. When we tell the customer this, she argues, saying that she was told by someone in electronics that the item can be returned anytime. She points to my coworker walking by who works in electronics and says it was him. He argues, saying he's a seasonal employee who started only 2 weeks ago. Guess who didn't return their DVD player that day? I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't ask for the receipt first, but I guess they were pretty confident that the customer said that they could return the item, and so they brought someone over to take a look at it. But then her scheme to return an item outside of the return period blew up in her face when she tried to say someone who had only been there a couple of weeks told her that she could return the item anytime she wanted to. A customer is purchasing pillows at my checkout, and I tell her that the total comes to $42.98. She argues, saying that they're supposed to be on sale and demands to be given the discount. I let her know that I can double check for her, but I've already sold quite a few today with no discount, and she's the first person to say anything about a sale. She gets even angry at me for accusing her of being a liar. She then points to the price tags on the pillows that have clearly been covered up by sales stickers that were removed from other items. I point out that the sales stickers clearly say that they're for napkins. She walks away without saying anything else or her pillows. Well, I guess she didn't really think this one through very well, did she? Considering she stole stickers off of another item that were clearly marked for items that she wasn't buying. I work in a local coffee shop. A customer comes in and orders a drink, and the total comes to $4.45. When I tell him his total, he says he's a close friend with the owner and that the owner said he'd hook him up with a free drink. I said that unless the owner tells me that directly, I can't do anything for him and that he will have to pay for the drink. Funny enough, the owner shows up and I give him his usual, on the house because he owns the place. The customer sees this and says, "Oh, you can give this a-hole a free drink, but not me?" I said to the customer, "It's not nice to call your close friend an a-hole." His eyes got wide and his face turned bright red as the realization began to sink in. He left without another word while the owner just looked at me super confused. I feel like I've heard this story a few too many times where someone pretends to know the owner and then it just doesn't work out for them for one reason or another. Why on earth do you think that claiming that you know the owner and claiming that they're going to give you free stuff is going to actually result in you getting free stuff? And if you are a close friend of the owner, shouldn't you just be supporting their business and not trying to leech off of them? A customer has already ordered, picked up, and drank most of his drink. He then walks up to the counter looking angry AF. He shouts, "What the F is this?" while pointing at his cup. I said that it looks like the drink that he ordered and has already enjoyed most of. He then calls me a smart aleck, pours the drink on the counter, and a key falls out. I panic and begin apologizing profusely as I have no idea how something like this would have even happened. He continues berating me, demanding that I make a new drink for him, and says we're lucky he's not suing us. Fair enough. I take the key and make him a new drink, and then he goes and sits outside with his friends. The key isn't mine, so I start asking coworkers and customers. No one is claiming it. The customer walks up about 5 minutes later, bright red and embarrassed. He then says, "Hey, I'm gonna need my car key back so I can go home." I don't know if dude was lying, trying to get a free drink, or if he actually somehow managed to accidentally get his car key in his coffee. I don't know how on earth that would happen, considering that when you buy a coffee, it comes with a lid on it, and it's really hard to accidentally have a key fall in your drink, which then leads me to believe he was lying about it, and his little plan blew up in his face when the employee decided to take the key away instead of leaving it on the counter for him to sneak away with. Either way, what a far-fetched way to try to get basically a coffee and a half, because he didn't even finish the first one since he had to pour out half of it on the counter. I'm working at a pool supply store when a customer walks up asking where the doorknobs are. I politely informed her that we don't sell doorknobs. She flips her lid and asks why. I said it's because this is a pool supply store. She then throws a tantrum like a toddler, saying how unacceptable this is that I refuse to sell her an item that we don't sell. She then demands to know the name of the manager, saying that she's going to complain about this to him. I handed her my business card, which states my name and that I'm the store manager. She rips it out of my hand and dials the number as she begins to stomp out of the store. The store phone rings. I answer. She realizes she's not going to win this one and leaves, peeling out of the parking lot like a maniac. How completely unhinged do you have to be to not just accept the fact that the item that you are asking for is not an item that is sold by the store that you are currently inside of, and that it's not some sort of weird conspiracy by the employee to just not sell you the item that you're looking for? I work at a store that sells cameras. A customer comes in angry saying they need to return a camera. I asked if there's anything wrong with it, and they said they just don't want it anymore. I asked if they'd open the box, and they asked, why does that matter? I pointed at the sticker on the box and state that if the box is open, that there will need to be a restocking fee. The customer lies, saying that the box hasn't been opened. I look, and the box clearly has been opened. I asked if they're sure the box hasn't been opened. They freak out, yelling, "Are you calling me a damn liar? Where is the manager? I spend thousands of dollars here, and this is how you treat me?" They started trying to get other customers in on the drama, saying that they shouldn't shop here because of how the staff treat the customers. I'm too tired to care at this point. I give in and ask for the receipt after getting the customer to calm down. She says it's in the box. I don't get paid enough for this. Well, clearly, that customer did not think that through, because the moment that she said that the receipt was in the box, it was very clear that she had been lying. And unfortunately for her, that derailed the whole thing, considering she was about to get her way for just being an annoyance to everybody. Personally, I probably would have just confronted her, but I could see how this type of customer mentality over and over again is exhausting. A customer comes in to return an air horn. We're often skeptical of these returns because a few customers have put them under their car to increase their radio's volume and blow them out within a day. I begin examining the box after the customer very urgently says they need to return it, saying it has not been opened. They were suspiciously in a hurry. I find that the box has been opened, but that's not necessarily a deal breaker. We will return it open if there's nothing wrong with it. What I find next completely blows my mind. Not only is there a chicken bone in the box, but the unit is cracked and the wiring has been cut. The customer tried to say that it came like that. When we asked why they were so adamant that the box hadn't even been opened and didn't try to tell us beforehand, they just fumbled over their words, gave up, took the item back, and left. To this day, I don't think I've ever encountered anything more weird. I have so many questions. First of all, where did the chicken bone come from? And then what on earth do you have to do to an air horn to crack it and have the wiring be all messed up for it? And where the heck did the chicken bone come from? I'm a librarian. A customer is trying to borrow a book but is unable to because he has 5 books that are overdue. He argues, saying that they'd been returned a long time ago, and goes on a small rant about how badly this library must be run. That's when his young child says, "But Daddy, I saw one of those books at home, remember?" He tells his son to shut up, picks him up, and stomps out of the library. The most ironic part? One of the books he claimed to have returned is called Teaching Your Child Good Manners. Sounds like Daddy needs to read that book for himself. Also, how hard is it to just return the books to the library? If you can make your way back to the library to try to borrow more books, then why don't you just bring the books with you that you need to return? I work at a place that sells chicken in a bucket. You know the place. A customer comes in right as we open and ordered a 20-piece bargain bucket. I let him know it'll be about 5 minutes since we just opened and haven't cooked that much chicken yet. He says fine and sits down. 3 whole minutes later, he stomps up to the counter demanding to know where his effing food is, exclaiming that he'd been waiting 30 minutes. Somehow he must have forgotten that he placed his order with me. I say that it's impossible he's been waiting that long, as we've only been open for 5 minutes. Right as I say this, his order is ready. He pouts, takes his food, and leaves without another word. What a baby. What a baby is right. He must have been super hangry to be in that much of a hurry for a bargain bucket of chicken. And honestly, why would you try to rush people cooking food, especially chicken? You want raw chicken? And how did you think you were going to get away with lying about how long you'd been waiting when the place clearly hadn't been open for that long for the day, and you lied to the person who you placed the order with? Like, clearly that was never going to work. I work at a call center for a bank. A customer calls in to see if we will waive the late fee on her credit card. I see that this has been done the last few months and let her know that I am unable to do so unless it's a bank error. I let her know that we're only allowed to do this for people once a year, and she's already gotten a few exceptions. She then tells me she's just lost her husband and has been going through a rough time and forgot to pay the bill. I begin to feel bad and look through the account notes to see if I can help her out again. That's when I discover that she sent us her husband's death certificate 2 years ago. When I point this out, she just huffs and hangs up on me. Well, there's no doubt that losing a loved one is a very traumatic experience, and it's hard to say how long it should take one person to sort of move on from something like that. But clearly, it sounds like she was trying to milk it in this case, which is super sad. Have you ever had a customer try to lie to you about ridiculous things before? Let me know about it in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button.